Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us the day after Labor Day. Hopefully everybody had a great Labor Day weekend. So I know it's been a little while since I've done an interview. I've been a little busy with a lot of other things going on, and everybody's really busy with a lot of things going on. But I do want to really reach out and thank everybody that's done interviews with me so far. Really, the goal has been to help empower women and give them the education and the tools and the inspiration that they need to make a change and take a step towards their own health and their own well-being. So yet another wonderful woman who has agreed to share, parts of her story with the hopes of inspiring other women to follow their dreams and their passions towards restoring their health and staying healthy and maintaining their health. So this is Maribeth. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate this.
Yeah.
And I know all the women that are watching appreciate this as well. So if you wouldn't mind, I'd like for you to start by just giving the viewers an overview of what was going on with you, a little bit about where you were before you went downhill health-wise, and then sort of what happened.
Yeah. So previous 2 years ago, I was thriving, had a successful business, loved life, travel, get in a car, drive 12 hours, get on a plane, fly anywhere, supporting my husband in his career and doing half marathons, triathlons. So got pregnant and actually was doing a triathlon at that time. And then at 20 weeks, had a very traumatic appointment during my pregnancy and a couple of other life events that were highly unexpected within my family, all within a 2-month period. And was going to ministry school 2 nights a week, running a very successful business out of my home. My husband got a promotion right after the 3 traumatic events. And we were due for a baby in 2 months. And I started going to see some doctors saying something is wrong with me. Mm-hmm. Something is desperately wrong with me. I did not even want to go into my nursery. I couldn't function. I couldn't sleep, but yet I was pregnant and I was not functioning even before I had my child. Mm-hmm. But I just kept pushing through that athletic mindset. I kept pushing through, going to doctors. They would just kind of look at me and almost be like, I just think, you're just having a bad day. And
9 whole months of days in a row.
Yeah.
Every day was a bad day, huh? Okay.
Yeah. So just, you've been through a lot. Never mentioned hormones to me. Never mentioned you had been through some traumatic events. Maybe you're suffering from some PTSD or something like that. Maybe you've got some anxiety and depression going on. So I just thought, okay, I'll keep exercising, keep eating healthy, keep taking my vitamins, mm-hmm. No sugar, no caffeine. So that was me before pregnancy, during pregnancy, and then once I had the baby, really everything broke loose. I could use a different word there, but my hormones bottomed out. Basically from the day I had Christian, I felt like I was dying. I obsessed about my blood pressure. Taking my blood pressure, I just knew instinctively something was off. Mm-hmm. They definitely diagnosed me postpartum depression, anxiety. Loved my baby, did not want to let him go ever. He was thriving, but there was something going on with me that they just said, the hormones are going to have to balance out. You're just going to have to take this medication, go to counseling, exercise. I didn't have the energy to exercise. Mm-hmm. I didn't have stamina. I felt weak. Mm-hmm. I would even, as the months progressed, I would even say to people like, I'm having a hard time walking. Mm-hmm.
And during the time frame that all this was happening, I mean, obviously you'd have regular follow-ups with your physician because I'm aware of that. But was there ever a time where they tried to uncover the reasons for things or did any kind of testing on you? Or, what was their solution? Their solution was basically a prescription medication and counseling?
Yes.
Okay.
Medication, counseling. I did go to a new doctor, tried a whole new doctor in August of a year ago, and basically told her how I was feeling, told her I didn't drive, basically told her some pretty strong symptoms and things, mm-hmm. and who I was previously. So she did some blood work and it came back and she's like, well, everything looks normal. You look like you might be a little dehydrated, but outside of that, everything's in the normal range. And I'm still like, there's something wrong.
Right.
So I wanted the EKG done, which they thought I was just kind of loopy that I wanted the EKG done. I remember laying there that day and my EKG being 117 resting heart rate, laying on a table. Which they just said, well, that's anxiety. You know, you're suffering from PTSD, and that's is what it is. Let's up your antidepressant, and
so, how long did you do that? You took the antidepressant, and you did the counseling and everything. And so, first of all, was any of it helping? And then, how long did you do that before you're finally like, you know what, this is, I've got to do something else, something different than what I've been doing.
So I did that until November of last year, and really at that point, I mean, I had told the doctors, I told them exactly how I felt, you know, and they basically alluded to it was just in my head. This was just all in my head. So of course I started to feel crazy. I mean, I'm feeling my heart do weird things. I'm feeling my body just. I'm watching my body deteriorate. You know, I'm seeing the muscle mass come out of my face and out of my hands, and my skin's thinning, my hair is falling out. Of course, that happens after pregnancy, but this was just massive amounts of hair coming out. I'm losing weight. There's just things that I was not functioning, you know, on top of that. So it was in November, and I really and truly at that point, I just asked God for a miracle. I mean, I had been praying for a miracle, and my family had too. I mean, we had no answers, and I will never forget, I woke up on a Saturday morning to a text from one of your patients who said, you've been on my heart for a while. God has really told me to reach out to you this week. What's going on with you? And
wow.
Laid it out there.
I didn't know this story.
Oh, yeah. Wow. This is how I found out about you, Dr. Edwards. So I just messaged you that day on Facebook, and I just remember setting up the consultation. My husband and I were just like, we're going to talk to her, and I will never forget you telling me, because I told you, I feel like I'm dying and I'm not going to make it through this. And you said to me, God would not give you that baby if he didn't intend for you to raise it. And I do believe everything you're telling me, and I know what's going on with you, and I'm going to help you get better. And I just took that to heart, and I said, okay, we're going to do this, and I'm going to get better. So that was in November of last year. So, yeah, so then we started working with you. But if you remember, after that, I got sick with the flu and RSV and ended up in the hospital.
Yeah, you were a very sick little girl after that. Well, and I think that part of that was because you were sort of internally heading in that direction. Yes. I guess what I wanted to ask you about also, you know, obviously there's different types of providers out there, and there's conventional doctors, which is sort of what we've been talking about. And then, you know, there's the more multidimensional, you know, integrative, functional, whatever you want to call them, doctors that kind of look at the bigger picture, et cetera. I guess because you were also ended up also working with another physician that has specific specialties in one of the issues that you were having. And, you know, obviously our approaches are similar, but very different from the conventional medical approach. So would you care to share a little bit about how that approach is different than what you had experienced, and in what way that approach impacted your health and brought you to where you are right now?
Yes. Number one, I felt heard. I felt like I was a human being again with a voice. You and my other physician listened to me. You stayed in close contact with me. Y'all collaborated together. If I needed something, y'all were constantly checking up on me. It was a daily, weekly thing. It wasn't like, here's your medication, we'll see you in 6 weeks and see how you're doing. You were constantly, and she was too, just wanting to know how I was doing, what were my symptoms like, what did we need to tweak here and there. It was just different. I felt loved. I felt like my life was worth fighting for again. And most importantly, I felt heard for the first time. Like, I'm not just this little innocent mom who's just gone crazy in her head with postpartum depression and anxiety. Like, there is something going on with you and we believe you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I guess also I know that there's a lot more investigative work that goes on, and the communication piece of it is, you're right, very, very important. I think that the biggest way you figure out what's wrong with the people that you're working with is to ask the right questions and listen to the answers.
Yeah.
But how much of a role do you feel like, because obviously during the whole process you also get a lot of education and information about things. Do you feel like that was helpful, and if so, how?
Yes. It's extremely helpful to actually have a doctor telling you these are the questions you should be asking. These are, the foods you should be eating, not eating, the supplements you should be taking, not taking. Just the whole educational resource that comes along with working with a doctor like yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a mini crash course in being a doctor somewhat, or a health coach or something like that, because now I know the questions to ask. I know the doctors to look for and what not to look for. Whereas before, it was just you go to the doctor and they say, hey, this is what's wrong with you. This is what you take. And you believe them because they're a doctor, and you don't get better. You get worse. And that was my experience. And so for me, I've always been somebody who wants to know the why behind the what. So being able to soak in that knowledge and that wisdom from someone like yourself and all those resources now is not just going to benefit me, but it's going to benefit my husband, my child, my family, and everyone that I come in contact with.
And so now that you are where you are and you've gone through this process, what's your experience been like now trying to find a general practitioner to try to work with them now?
Yeah, so I've been to 2 different general practitioners, and they've not quite met my standards. So I have learned that doctors, and I shouldn't say all doctors, but there are some physicians out there that do not like you to ask questions, hard questions, about your own health, or to tell them what's going on with your body. They'd rather it be role reversal. They're telling you what's wrong with your body.
Right.
And so I'm still on the outlook for the best internal medicine doctor for me now, but I also know what to ask now, what kind of red flags to look for. I need somebody who's going to listen. So yeah, I'm just not going to take no for an answer. And I want to be heard.
Good for you. One of the other things I wanted to ask about, because, obviously health insurance is always a really big issue, and I don't think there's anybody on the planet that's really happy with the way the situation is here. And I know that obviously there's a physician perspective to that, but there's also a patient perspective to that, and I'm both. So I understand sort of the problem from both sides. One of the things that has been notoriously true about insurance companies in the length of time I've been practicing is they're really not out there for well care. They're not interested in covering preventative medicine and disease prevention types of services. So that's really more for sick care. And so a lot of patients, I think, get discouraged or for whatever reason decide not to pursue this type of a route, because obviously a lot of practitioners that practice integrative or functional medicine don't accept insurance for 1,000 different reasons, which we can talk about later when we have a month to listen to all of them. But anyway, I guess, what was your perspective on that? Was it a factor for you? And what was your experience with it even after, we started working together, or there were still other issues? I mean, what would you say to that whole topic, I guess?
Yes. Well, number one, I would say that I did not want an insurance company, excuse me. I didn't want anybody anywhere, but especially an insurance company dictating whether I was going to live or not, because that was basically where we were. Is there's something going on deeper, and I didn't want them saying, well, we'll cover you here, we'll cover this test or cover that test, but we won't cover this test. So for us, it was just like a no-brainer. My life is more important than paying insurance, being covered by insurance or not. And I didn't want insurance dictating what tests I could have and not have. And even during our journey, as you know, Dr. Edwards, I had multiple run-ins with insurance companies not wanting to cover certain diagnostic tests. And even one of the major tests that showed my genetic mutation, they did not want to pay for that. But thank God that we had that test done because that was a huge answer to a lot of my problems. So it's amazing to me how we allow an insurance to dictate our health, and that has opened my eyes. It's opened my eyes immensely, and it also has broken my heart at the same time for people who don't understand that they can have health outside of an insurance company.
Yeah, and I think that for some people it can be really frustrating because it's a matter of finances as well. But, I think that from my perspective, I think that if there's a way to do it, and I know things are going to be changing soon,
Right.
that the understanding that insurance companies really don't have any interest in getting and keeping you healthy. But anyway, so I guess in closing, because I could keep you here all day because you're so pleasant to talk to, what piece of advice would you give to the women watching this? And hopefully they're going to share this with their friends and invite more friends to the group so that they can learn. What piece of advice would you give to women?
Do not be silent. Be your own advocate. Do not take no for an answer. Don't quit and keep fighting. Those are kind of things that I have always been in my heart previous to this, but I encourage women to don't just go to a doctor and let them tell you this is what's wrong. Keep fighting for the answers. I think also too, something that I wanted to mention earlier is just I went from being not even able to live upstairs with my husband in our home to literally sleeping downstairs for 6 months in a bed by myself to now I'm able to come up and down the stairs. And I remember just back last January, I had to be in a wheelchair to get one of my iron infusions. I could not walk, and now I'm exercising for an hour a day. And so just don't give up because there are answers and your life can be transformed too. It's just a matter of finding the right person, and Dr. Edwards is that person.
Well, we talked about that. I can only take care of so many people.
I know. But it's also just learning to ask the right questions to your physicians and finding a physician that's going to listen to you and you're going to be heard. For sure. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. I know that everybody is very, very grateful for your wisdom and your sharing your experience because I know it's a very personal thing to share. And so keep us updated in the group and, post pictures of your gorgeous little kid because he's very cute. But anyway, so thank you so much again for sharing your time and your experience with us. I know we all very, very much appreciate it.
Yes, thanks for having me, Dr. Edwards.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. Till next time.